Hi, I'm Colin Walls, and in this video today I'm going to talk about USB once again. Specifically, I'm going to talk about the latest developments in the standard USB 3 and USB 3.1. These have been around for a little while now, but some features are still not familiar to many developers. So first of all, USB 3. The key things about it are that it is a dual bus architecture. It was designed so that the USB 2 traffic can carry on being communicated down the two wires as it always has been, and there are 4 additional wires for super speed, which is the new high speed. This gives 5 gigabits per second transmission speed theoretically, and it's also bidirectional. There's also more current available on the bus, and we'll talk about that in a bit. One of the key things about USB 3 was backwards compatibility. USB 2 is very widely used, so the compatibility was essential, and USB 3 hosts and hubs support USB 2 speeds. And the USB 2 connectors are fine with USB 3 sockets. The interesting thing about USB 3 though is speed, and USB 3 hosts will support all 4 speeds normally. A USB 3 hub actually includes a USB 2 hub as well as the SuperSpeed hub. SuperSpeed only works if everything between the hub and the device actually supports that speed. That's kind of obvious, but it needs pointing out. Something else about SuperSpeed is a device can decide that it will only work at that speed, in which case it must support other speeds just enough to be able to tell the host, sorry, I can't work at that speed, and be able to handle resets and that kind of thing. Now, when we look at speeds, we need to look at the topology. Now, if we have a root hub, which is a USB 3 root hub, we can see that it can communicate with devices of all 4 speeds, and it uses the speeds that we would expect: super speed, high, full speed, and low speed. Now, if we introduce a USB 3 hub between the devices and the root, then nothing much changes really. All the devices get communication at the speeds they expect, and communication between the USB 3 hub and the host is at high speed for USB 2 traffic and at super speed for USB 3. However, if we introduce a USB 2 hub between the devices and the USB 3 root hub, then, as we would expect, we can no longer use super speed. So the super speed device gets communicated with using high speed because that's the best that can be done, and communication between the hub and the host is also at high speed. So it all makes reasonable sense. If you want your entire system to work at high performance, then you need to have super speed enabled hardware everywhere. Now, another aspect of USB, which is a common occurrence, a common thing we use every day, is the ability to deliver power. Now, this has been around forever in the USB standard, and it's very useful. Nominally, it's a 5-volt power supply, but there are limits on how much current is available. USB 2 has that limit set to half an amp for a conventional device and 100 milliamps for a low power device. USB 3 raises those numbers by about a factor of 2, which is very convenient. Time moves on, and in fact USB 3.0 has been around a little while, so now we have USB 3.1. It's only a small increment in the version number, but actually there's some big changes here, and it's very exciting. So USB 3.1 provides an even higher speed, 10 gigabits per second, which is called SuperSpeed Plus. There are 2 sets of signal lines, so potentially you can do data communication at 20 gigabits per second. That's a theoretical speed, but nevertheless it shows the potential of the new version of the bus. Considerably more power is available, potentially 100 watts per port. That's 20 volts at 5 amps. That's enough power to charge a laptop, for example. And there are already laptops around that use USB 3.1 as a charging vehicle. The most interesting aspect from the external point of view is the Type-C connector, a new connector for USB 3.1. It's a slightly more compact connector than the standard USB 3. And it's reversible. This is wonderful. It means that you're no more fumbling around to figure out which way round to put the connector. And it's more sophisticated and flexible. Here's a picture of it to give you a feeling for what the USB 3.1 connector, the Type-C connector, looks like compared with the conventional USB connector. So that's the introduction to USB 3. From the software perspective, you need a stack that supports it, but there's nothing radically different about the communication beyond that. From the physical point of view, everything's changed as we have more performance, new connectors, and all the things I've talked about. So that's about it for USB for the time being. I'm going to be talking about other embedded subjects in the weeks to come in these videos, and I hope you'll join me. Thanks for coming along today. Bye for now.